Okay, just to talk about absolute values here, they're a little different. But basically, when it says absolute value, let's say of x is equal to 5, what they're referring to is basically distance. In other words, from the 0, okay, from 0, I know that the distance is going to be 5. Now notice here it could be 5 in this direction, all the way up to 5, or it could be 5 all the way up to -5 in this direction. In other words, absolute value only gives a positive value. So x in this case could be 5, or, or x is equal to -5. And that's essentially what they say here. They're just saying, well, just realize here that they both give you positive values, and they're using 4 here. But there's two different values that x could be. It could be all the way up to 5, or it could be up to -5, because the absolute value is telling you the distance it is away from 0. So let's go through some examples here like that. If I look at this one here, okay, this one, let's see here, 2 times, well, let's move some things around here. Let's solve this like an equation. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides, which case I'm going to get 4 is equal to 2x plus 9, and then that's the absolute value. I'm going to divide both sides by 2 now, and what I'm going to be left with is the absolute value of x plus 9 is equal to 2. Now at this stage here, I should finish that absolute value, I know here that x plus 9 can be equal to 2, or x plus 9 is equal to -2, because either one would satisfy this. And so as I move through here, I'm going to get, well, x could be equal to -7, or x is equal to I guess that would be -11. And so you get two different answers here. One is x could be equal to -11, or x is equal to -7, and that's what happens here. You're going to end up getting two different answers. Now we could keep trying ones like this. Now I'm going to go to the third example here. A next example here could be, well, let's move this around here. What I know here is that, now I can't really do anything within here, but I know that 5x minus 2 could equal 7x plus 14. Let's solve that. What you're going to get, if I move things around, you're going to get 2x is equal to, well, that's going to become -16, and x is equal to -8. So there's one solution. But the other one I didn't look at was that 5x minus 2 could have equaled negative of 7x plus 14. And just remember to include your parentheses because it's negative of the whole thing. In other words, 5x minus 2 is equal to -7x minus 14. And of course, moving this one around, I'm going to get here 12. And if I put that over, I'm going to get -12x. In which case here, I'm going to get x is equal to -1. So I get two different answers again. But notice how this works. One is I set the positive answer, and one I set the negative answer in order to achieve my result there. The last example here I'm going to show, again, well, one answer could be that 5x plus 10 is greater than 15. Let's move that around. What I'm going to get is I'm going to get 5x is greater than 5, or x is greater than 1. So that's one solution, that x is greater than 1. The next solution I'm going to get here is that 5x plus 10 is greater than -15. And if we move this one around, you're going to get here that 5x is greater than -25, and then x is greater than -5. Now I want to show you something here that happens. I'm going to look back at those other examples that I had that were ambiguous. Okay, so if I look back at these other ones, one says equals equals. Okay, that's fine, because there's just two different answers for x, and that may be the case. This one as well as equals and equals, but this last one is an inequality. And you'll notice here the inequality does something funny. It says that x has to be greater than 1. Well, here's 1, so that means x has to be greater than this value here. My second parameter here is that x has to be greater than -5. Now, which means anything bigger than this. But notice that because this one, greater than 1, okay, which means if I make 0 a value for x, it doesn't satisfy that. It satisfies this one, but it doesn't satisfy greater than 1. So greater than 1 trumps the other one. In other words, this one I can almost just throw away, because I know here that this one overshadows this because there are things that violate it. So in order for it not to violate any of the policies here, or I guess the results, you're going to get here that x is greater than 1 is the only one that I'm going to use.